Ready? All right. The root cause of no running profiles is that people don't want to learn how to run. Notice my drill sergeant hanging out just a little? Oh, a lot? It's okay, they weren't going to watch it anyway. In this video, we're going to be providing you some exercises and drills that can be very beneficial to increasing your overall running performance. Next, we're going to go over what an actual running week needs to look like. 7 days, what do you need to have in it? What doesn't need to be there? Lastly, we're going to go over how to correctly warm up to get ready for a run. Why is it so important? Why is it something that you need to take control of? So to start this off, there's a large number of exercises and stretches and drills that you can be utilizing inside your training program that are just as beneficial as actually running at increasing your overall performance whenever you go out on a run. Now, you do have to go run in order to become a better runner, but that's not the only way to improve. Here's a few examples. The first one is referred to as a reverse plank. We're going to be laying flat on the ground with our palms flat, looking straight up at the ceiling. We're going to drive our heels down into the ground, and then we're going to pick our hips up off the ground. Now, we're not trying to push them all the way out as far as we can. We're just picking our hips up off the ground and holding them. Now, you can try to hold this. We usually recommend between 3 to 7 seconds, and then release back down and back up again. Once again, you're not trying to thrust your hips all the way up to the ceiling. You're just trying to pick your butt up off the ground. And there's ways that we can actually scale this and make it a little bit more difficult. We could do what's referred to as a marching plank, to where once we pick our hips up off the ground and we hold it, we can then pick one foot up off the ground just for 3 to 6 inches. Then drop all of it back down together. And then raise our hips back up again and alternate and pick up the other foot. This is great at increasing your hamstring endurance and teaching you to run with that hip extension. But I want to point out again, we're not thrusting our hips as far as we can, we're just picking them up off the marching surface. Another exercise that we like to utilize a lot is referred to as a slide crunch, because we do want to have our body lean forward. We want to become comfortable with that. We want to have good ab engagement whenever we run. And we know that crunches are the best at getting ab activation. The issue is that nobody does them correctly. And this exercise will actually help you a lot with that. To execute the slide crunch, you're just going to lie flat on the ground, knees bent at a 90-degree angle, and have your feet flat. You're going to be looking straight up at the ceiling. You're going to take your arms and extend them out all the way that you can and place your palms flat up on your thighs, reaching up as far as you can. Whenever you're ready to execute the movement, we're going to raise our shoulders up off the ground and slide our hands up our legs. Try to get our fingertips all the way up to our knees. And once we've got them up as far as we can, we're going to try to hold that for 3 to 5 seconds and then return back down. Now, this is just doing like a regular crunch, except we've eliminated a lot of the bad habits that a lot of people have. Remember, this is not a race to try to get 80 of them in within 30 seconds. This is contracting your stomach and holding it for 3 to 5 seconds, then returning back down and then sliding back up. Once again, this is really good at teaching you to have good core engagement and teaching you to lean forward whenever you run. The next one we're going to go over is referred to as Warrior 3. This is a really great exercise, and yes, it is pulled straight from yoga. But running is a one-legged activity. Each leg's going to be operating independent, and it needs to learn how to balance and control that force. This is a really good exercise for it. So in order to do the exercise, we're going to be standing straight up, and we're going to already identify which foot is going to be our plant foot. Once we got that, we're going to pick the other foot slightly off the marching surface, and we're going to bring our elbows down and tuck our upper rib. At that point, we're then going to hinge at the hip of our plant leg until we can get our back as flat as we can to the marching surface. So once we're there, with our elbow pulled down to our opposite knee, we're then going to extend both arms and that off leg out and try to maintain our balance. Once you're all the way out, try to hold it there for just 1 to 3 seconds, and then return all the way back in until you've brought your elbows in all the way to your knee, and then extend back out. Usually we like to try to get a set number of either reps or time on one side, and then stop, provide at least 10 to 30 seconds of break, and then switch over to the other side. But we get a lot of benefit from improving our overall running performance in this exercise. We are, once again, causing some ab activation. We're working on that balance in that one leg and teaching our body how to be more confident and stable with one leg on the ground at a time. The last one we're going to go over as far as exercises that can really help is referred to as a hip driver. The starting position for this movement is we're going to be on our knees on the ground. We have our feet out from underneath us, meaning that our toes are not up underneath our heels, are pointed straight back. All right? We're going to go ahead and step all the way back until our butt actually touches our heels, or as far back as you can. And then you're going to, with a very quick movement, thrust your hips all the way forward until your shoulder, hip, and knees are in a good straight line. And then take your butt all the way back down to your hips again, or as far as you can. You're going to do that in a nice controlled manner, or we're going to fire up whenever it's time. Right? So we're not, once again, not trying to over thrust and drive our hips too far forward. We're just going to that position to where we have good shoulder, hip, knee alignment, and then control it back. Fire through and control it back. And we can also scale this one. If you have a weight or any type of weighted object around that you can utilize, whenever you bring your butt all the way back down to your heels, you can bring that all the way in towards your chest, bending your elbows. And whenever you go to thrust your hips forward and you fully locked out, also have your elbows fully locked out and holding the weight directly in front of you. There will be a lot of ab engagement that has to kick in to hold that up. It's a very easy way that you can scale this, and these are very simple exercises that can reap huge benefits at addressing and improving your running form, when that can in turn improve your all running technique. Next, we're going to go over how to actually structure your running week. What are the things that you need to have inside of it? To start with, what I want to point out to you is that the biggest mistake that we see individuals make whenever they begin to start to improve their overall run time or performance is they choose to value intensity over efficiency. If you go out and you watch people who are able to max out their run and get their max points and scores on it, from start to finish, they make it look very smooth and effortless all the way around the track. As opposed to if you watch people who have a hard time going out and running and trying to meet those minimal standards on it, they're struggling, and generally they look like Gumby running all over the track. Right? So we want to be more like the first one, where we make it look nice and smooth. Very rarely have we found instances where it's truly a lack of heart that's resulting in somebody having a failing grade on their run times. Generally, it is a lack of efficiency. And as you put together your training program, remember that you're trying to address efficiency. You're trying to learn better running form. You're trying to learn better running technique. You're not trying to increase your heart. That would be trying to improve your intensity. We're trying to make you a better, more efficient runner, and that will matter more in the short term in getting you over the goal of improving your run time or performance, and it'll matter more in the long term as you're trying to max out and get the best score that you can on your run time. So wherever your rest day or recovery day that you're going to have, the first day after that is not going to be a run-intensive heavy day. It's going to be a day in which you've identified one area that you're trying to address and improve upon, whether it be foot strike or arm swing or glute amnesia, whatever it is. You're trying to address one area. We do not want to overload the body and try to completely change our running form in 1 week. It takes a long time to do that, and they generally find other issues that need to be addressed. But we only want to keep our focus on one issue at a time. So right after your recovery day, know what you're going to try to work to improve on that week and start working on it. Now, we don't want to actually address improving our overall efficiency in a highly stressed manner. So our body's well and recovered, and it's ready to learn whatever the new technique that you're trying to teach it is. As to the rest of our running week, the two things that we want to see in there is we want to see a high volume or a high step day is what we like to tell people. Don't like to recommend that you try to go out and set a goal of running 3 miles or 5 miles or 4 miles or whatever. Try to have a run to where you go out and try to get as many steps in as you can, and try to keep that good steady cadence from start to finish all the way through your run. There's numerous devices out there now that you can put on your phone for free that you can have that'll count your step count, count your distance, all of that. Make sure you utilize that free technology. Like I said, you're just trying to maintain that good steady cadence and try to go as far as you can with it. Don't have a big preset notion on it. You do need to have some trainings that are designed at increasing your overall lung capacity inside of your training. This is going to be more of sprinting or really 1 mile hard pushed runs. Whatever they are, something to where you really have had to cause deep, heavy breathing over a course period of time. We do want to keep it as small down in as we can, but make no mistake, you do need to have these inside of your training program. The other thing I want to point out that doesn't need to occur every week, but does need to occasionally show up, is some type of agility drill training to where you are having to stop and turn and cut and move back and forth. Whether they be a 5-10 agility drill, there's the Illinois agility drill, as we've already talked about the beep test earlier, but some type of agility training can be very beneficial for you. And if all else fails, go buy a jump rope. Jump ropes are great at helping improving your overall run time and performance. Generally, we like to have these right before our recovery day, right before our rest day. We do like to have those in there. These are to go back to some of the prior events, for your run time, if you want to improve it for your testing, it's important that you know what your splits are, where you were your fastest splits, where were your slowest splits. Those are the important things, and these can be based on quarter mile, half mile, or mile. It doesn't matter. But whenever you go out to actually train your intensity, to actually try to impress and try to get some sprints in or some beep test in, know the time range of which you had your slowest paces, right? And be prepared to work yourself up into that. So that way you're able to hammer at those at that appropriate time. So if you know that whenever you start that 10 to 12 minute is where you actually had your slowest pace, warm up, have a good, nice, steady 10-minute warm up, and then have that 2-minute section to where you just hammer and provide as much intensity as your body as you can. Attack that sticking point. It's like what we like to tell people. Try to provide as much intensity inside that block. The next part of our video is going to be focused on how to properly warm up. If you go run, your body is going to go through a process of warming up whenever you go out to run, or just training in general. You are much better off taking full advantage and you controlling that time so that way you get the most out of it, rather than just throwing it to the wind and going out and starting running right away. Yes, that is the gold standard, but that's a really high standard to make. And even professional runners, very, very few of them actually practice that. Make sure that you have some good structured time in there to warm up. What your warm up should look like is the body part that you've identified that you're wanting to actually improve on, your foot strike, your glute activation, or your arm swing. Make sure that you're copying exactly what you want right to be like whenever you go out and do that, and make sure that you're warming up in that area. So if it's arm swing, have some good arm swing exercises so that your body realizes this is what I want right to be, nice de-stressed movement, and to get everything warmed up. It's also really important that you understand that whenever you go run, your heart and lungs have to warm up too. So in your warm up, have some type of calisthenic exercises that are going to get you just started breathing heavy. So that way the muscles that are responsible for you being able to breathe are also warmed up. And same thing for your heart. It's been given time for the heart rate to actually react to the increased stress that's placed on the body because you're about to go run. Now, this can go miles in injury prevention and overall increase the performance because your body will be able to hit higher levels, be able to push a little bit farther because you took good control of that warm-up time. And remember, all you're doing is just copying what you're actually going to be training that day and providing yourself some calisthenics so that way you've allowed your heart and lungs to actually warm up. To end this video off, I want to point out that if you really want to actually increase your run time or performance, it's not intensity, it's not efficiency that you need to be addressing. You need to address focus. You need to apply focus in improving your form and improving your technique, into improving whatever area it is, but focus on the actual act of improvement, not going out and yelling and screaming and trying to drive through and allowing intensity to reinforce and create bad habits. Focus on yourself. Learn to listen to what your body's telling you and learn to make your body do what you want it to do. By the way, that's the definition of mental toughness. My name is Benjamin Morris. I'm the founder here at Outtrained. 10 cycles as drill sergeant, tactical street and conditioning. That one too. Facilitator, military master fitness instructor, and I thank you for your time. Please remember to push the subscribe button, and pressure is a privilege.